Good evening, horror fans. My name is Charles Hopkins, and I'm the director for Countess Dracula 2020, shooting in northwestern Indiana this September. When we think of what is the most successful horror franchise in cinematic history, who do you think of? Dracula. We have all enjoyed vampire films all these decades, from Max Schreck in Nosferatu to Christopher Lee in the legendary Hammer films of Great Britain. All of these films, though, generally had a male lead as Dracula. Now, Canterbury Films wants to introduce a new horror franchise vampire for our films, and it's a female lead this time called Countess Dracula. Produced by Steve Webker, Canterbury Films is actually modeled after Hammer films of the 70s and 80s in England, where we only produce horror genre films, preferably vampire, werewolf, mummy, and such. Countess Dracula, though, promises to be a cult classic of blood and violence and an all-star cast. Countess Dracula 2020 is the story of two sisters, one born mortal and the other a vampire, after an encounter with their mother, a mortal, and the infamous Count Dracula. So for 20 years, the mortal sister was brought up in the big city with her mom, being mortal mother, and the vampire sister was raised on a family farm far outside society. So after about 20 years of this, the vampire sister grows very resentful, lacking her mother's attention and love. And so she decides that she is going to kill her mother and her mortal sister. Once the two find out about this, they flee Romania for the United States and relocate in northwest Indiana. Of course, the vampire sister follows, and they know that once she's in the area, that she needs to be found and dealt with, however they're going to deal with her. So the mortal sister hires a private detective to try to locate her sister. Of course, she doesn't tell him that she's a vampire. And she also enlists the help of a Catholic priest. After several killings in the community and the neighboring countryside, the vampire sister and her vampire slaves, which she has by now, have all been traced to a farm just outside the city where the mother is living. So there, at the end of the movie, there's a big battle between the evil sister and her vampires and an army of county police that has descended on the farm, thinking that the vampires are actually terrorists, which is what the private detective has put in their head so that he could enlist their help. Canterbury Films is producing a sure-to-be bloodfest of gore and violence. I guarantee that you will remember this film. We have an outstanding cast for this film. an all-star lineup, if you may, headed by Hollywood's perhaps top horror actress ever, scream queen, Debbie Rochon, who has over 300 credits to her career, film credits, which is really a huge career. She's been in movies such as Model Hunger, Death House, She-Wolf Rising, and Witch Stalker. Deborah plays Lenore Dracula in this film, which is the Countess Dracula. We are very excited to have her for this horror fest. Then there's the other top scream queen in Hollywood right now, in Brink Stevens. And Brink has been in over 220 films with credits and titles like Slumber Party Massacre, which is one of my personal favorites, Personal Demons, Die, Sister Die, and The Beast Beneath. Brink plays Sylvia Dracula, which is the girl's mother. And I am telling you, I am very happy to have Brink with us. She is definitely a top actress and a horror convention favorite. Next in this horror fest is my personal buddy, Sonny King. Sonny is a hot item in Hollywood right now, with over 38 films, and he has played in with films and actors with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Eraser. He's also been in Drone Wars and the A Haunting in Salem and TV series such as Ravenswolf Towers and Cypher. Sonny plays Father Nelson in this film and shares the destiny of the two sisters and their mother. Again, my buddy Sonny, you go. Then we come to another great actor and hot item in Hollywood of Jerry Rector. Jerry, his outstanding film and TV credits includes Double Impact with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Ghost World, Oildale, and has even been in Star Trek Next Generation. Jerry plays Hans Parker, a tough-nosed gumshoe detective. And then lastly, there is a new horror newcomer to horror films in Cassandra Shea. She lives here in Northwest Indiana, and she's a very talented young actress, and she will be a great complement to Debbie Rochon and Brink Stevens in this film. She plays the Megan Dracula, the good sister, and star of the show. As far as myself, I am the writer and director of Countess Dracula 2020. I started my film career in the 80s with Repo Man. I played Mr. Humphreys along with Emilio Estevez. Then in the 90s, I was a licensed signatory agent with the Writers Guild in New York and represented several screenwriters at that time. Then I went into producing and directing in the 2000s and directed and produced three films, Hollywood Scream Queens 1, 2, and 3. And but I also studied film directing under Hollywood producer Ron Howard. Now I appeal to all horror fans all over the world, um, and of all generations, to donate to this fundraising campaign to bring Countess Dracula 2020 to life. We offer all kinds of rewards for your donation, ranging from 20 bucks all the way up to maybe $10,000 if you would like an associate producer title. So we have a little bit of everything for our fan base and our fan following. I am Charles Hopkins, and you have definitely been warned.